Dear students, welcome you all. So in the last class, we have discussed in detail about the solution spinning, what is this solution spinning process, and how it is different from melt spinning process, and what are the different features of this solution spinning process, and how it has been classified, and how the filaments are produced through solutions, that is dry spinning as well as wet spinning process. So this is what we have discussed in detail in the previous class. Okay, so today's class we'll be talking about the rheology of the solution spinning. The rheology of solution spinning. Now here is a question. So what is this rheology and why we need to consider or why we need to study this rheology of the polymer solution? Understand? So with that we'll be starting this today's class. Okay. And the main objective of the today's class is to know the flowing behavior of solution which is meant for solution spinning. The flowing behavior. So after preparing the polymer solution, so when this polymer solution is passing through different elements in a dry spinning or wet spinning line, how its behavior changes. Is there any change in its viscosity, or is there any, that means change in the sense increase or decrease in the viscosity, so which will have a large impact on the final structure of the filament. That is what the main objective of the today's class. And at the end of this presentation, you will be getting an outcome of, you will be understanding, so what are the different parameters that will affect the flowing behavior of the polymer solution through passing different elements in melt spinning line, and also the parameters like what is the shear rate and the viscosity, either it is decreasing or increasing. So this is what the outcome you are going to get at the end of this presentation. So without any further delay, we will start discussing about, so we'll start with what is this rheology, what is this study, what is the implications of this study, then we will discuss about the polymer solution. Okay. Now coming to the rheology. So what is the meaning of rheology? Okay. So basically it is a study of flow of matter. That matter primarily it might be of liquid or it might be of gaseous state. But also soft solids or solids under conditions which they respond with plastic flow rather than deforming elastically in response to an applied force. This kind of study is called as rheology behavior. And we have another definition, so which is nothing but the rheology is the science that concerns with the flow of liquids and deformation of solids. In case of liquids, we'll be studying the flow. What is the flowing behavior of the liquid? When it is in the case of solids, it is a deformation of solids. It is a deformation of solids. That means when an external force is applied onto the solids, so how the deformations are the deformations that are taking place in the solids. So this kind of behavior, this kind of study is called as rheology study. Now here is a question. Why we need to study this rheology behavior in this spinning of manufactured fibers? Here you have to understand, I am just calling it a name as spinning of manufactured fibers. So why this rheology behavior is needed? Why to study this rheology behavior? Okay, so let us go back to this manufactured fiber spinning. From the beginning class onwards, we'll be talking about the melt spinning and then solution spinning. Melt spinning and then solution spinning. So here what we are doing, what exactly we are doing, in case of melt spinning, we are taking the polymer, we are melting it. What is that output we are getting here? We are getting a molten solution which is viscous. Whereas in case of solution spinning, what we are doing, we are taking the polymer, we are dissolving in a solvent, thereby it results in a polymer solution. Now you just think, in both the cases, either in case of melt spinning or either in case of solution spinning, we are getting a solutions, either it is molten or either it is polymer solution. Now with this molten or polymer solution, if you are applying some forces or if you are applying some pressure and if you are forcing through different elements in a spinning line, obviously the behavior of the fluid changes according to the rate of shear you are applying or the time of shear we are the shear rate which is there in a polymer solution or molten solution. Its flowing behavior is going to changes or it is going to alter. Sometimes because of the applied shear rate or the time of shear, where the viscosity may increase and sometimes the viscosity may decreases. So in both the cases, if it is increases, again there is a problem. If it is decreases, again there is a problem with the polymer, that is flowing behavior of the polymer solution or molten solution. So these things will alter the final properties of the filaments. That is the main reason why we are studying this rheology behavior, that is flowing behavior of fluids. Flowing behavior of fluids. Okay. So in this class, in this session, we'll be talking about what kind of parameters that is influencing the flowing behavior in case of melt spinning. Why? Because if you try to compare with melt spinning, then only you can easily understand so the flowing behavior of polymer solutions here. Okay. Now if you look at the polymer solution rheology and its instabilities, that is what makes the polymer solution so unstable. Here in both the cases, whether it may be melt spinning or solution spinning, in both the cases where the main concern is the viscosity. That means the resistance to flow of a fluids. Say for example, if you take oil and if you take water, what do you think? Which one is more viscous? If you take oil and if you take water, which one is more viscous? Obviously, where oil is having more viscosity. That means where when you just pour that oil on a floor, where the flowing behavior, that is the flowing nature of the oil is somewhat slow when compared with the water. That means what is happening in case of oil, where there is some restraining forces are there in a oil which is restricting its movement, The same case here also will be there. Okay. If you look at viscosity, it is a resistance of polymer solutions to flow. Okay. Now it depends on whatever this viscosity we are talking about, the main criteria in case of manufactured fibers, it depends on number of entanglements the polymer chain have with each other. Number of entanglements a polymer chain is having with each other. That means if that entanglements are more, obviously what will happen? Where the solution or the fluid becomes more viscous. If entanglements are very less, say for example like this, only this many entanglements are there, obviously what will happen? Where the particular fluid is less viscous, so that it flows like anything. In case of more entanglements like this, obviously what will happen? Where this polymer fluid is having some restrictions or restraining forces will be there for its movement. Okay. Now, if you look at the polymer melt, that is molten polymer. How we are getting this molten polymer? We are taking the polymer, we are heating the polymer. Understand? We are taking the polymer and we are heating the polymer so that we are getting the molten solution of a polymer. Now, if you look at the entanglements, are the maximum and are dependent upon the rigidity of polymer backbone and molecular weight. Whatever these molecular entanglements, polymer chain entanglements we are talking about, it is depending upon the molecular weight of a polymer. And the next slides will be talking about so how this molecular weight will influences the entanglement density. Okay. If the molecular weight is more entanglement density will be there, obviously the fluid is having highly viscous. Okay, that is the criteria. The same thing. The higher the molecular weight, more are the number of entanglements per unit length of chain, and more is the resistance to flow. So if molecular weight is high, the entanglements are more, obviously the polymer, whatever the molten polymer we are getting, it is highly viscous. Okay, the external, suppose in case of temperature, if you maintain certain temperature which is having some influences on the entanglement density of polymer melt, so the effect is relatively small, but it will affect the entanglement density. That means it makes a fluid so somewhat less resistance to flow. That means the viscosity may reduces. Okay, at high temperatures, the number of entanglements tend to decrease as the polymer chain makes more free space around them due to the high energy state. That means, so earlier the entanglement density is like this. All the polymer chains are more entangled. Whenever you are maintaining some temperature, obviously what is happening? Where these polymer chains make more free space. So because of this space, what will happen here? So where the polymer fluid attains free to move, that means viscosity reduces. So this is what will happen in case of molten polymer, that is in case of melt spinning. Now, when it comes to solution spinning, in case of preparing the polymer solution, now you can see here clearly what we are doing here. We are taking the solute and we are dissolving in a solvent, we are getting a polymer solution. Say for example, this is polyacrylonitrile and this is dimethyl formaldehyde. So while mixing this polymer in a solvent, we are getting a polymer solution which we can make continuous filaments. Now think that if this prepared polymer solution is less viscous, that means it is easily flowing. Do you think, is it possible to produce good properties of filaments? Are the filaments more stable? Obviously no. We can't take the polymer solution which is of low viscosity and we cannot make continuous length of yarns. Or whatever the filaments we are producing, it won't be stable. Is that right? So that's why what we are doing is we are preparing the polymer solution with some viscosity. So there are a lot of factors which will influence the viscosity behavior of a polymer solution. One such important factor is the solvent type. What type of solvent we are choosing? According to polymer, are we choosing the right type of solvent? Are we choosing the right type of solvent? Are the solvation power of solvent is good? Or the solvation power of solvent is weak? Based on these criteria, where the viscosity of a polymer solution greatly influences. And the second one is polymer concentration or dope concentration. So what is the concentration of dope or polymer solution we are preparing? Okay, these are the two main factors which influences the flowing behavior of the polymer solution. Apart from this, we have so many other factors like molecular weight of the polymer we are selecting, and then the temperature, are we maintaining any temperature in this dissolution process. All these factors influences the flowing behavior of the polymer solutions we are preparing here. Okay, these factors have the major effects, these two things, solvent type and polymer concentration, have the major effect in controlling the entanglements besides the above factors, like as we have discussed in case of polymer melt. Okay, now let us talk about the solvent type. That is, what type of solvent we are choosing and what is the solvation power of solvent. Okay, these are the main things. Okay, a good solvent, whatever a solvent we are selecting here, we are calling it or we are naming it as a good solvent. The good solvent is able to separate each polymer chain during dissolution. Okay, so that what will happen? Complete dissolution of polymer taking place. The polymer chains are able to extend fully as the solvent molecules internally free the polymer chains, internally free up the polymer chains, so that the complete dissolutions and all taking place. And the entanglement density, which is nothing but the number of entanglements per unit length of chain. Number of entanglements per unit length of chain. Say for example, this is the length of chain, and now you can see this is another polymer chain. Now you can see how many entanglements here. This is 1 and this is 2 entanglements. This is nothing but the entanglement density. It changes with the solvating power of a solvent. If solvating power of solvent is high, obviously this entanglement density will come down, so that complete dissolution taking place. And the next one is concentration, that is concentration of polymer solution we are preparing. If you look at this image, you can easily understand where the first one is concentrated and second one is dilute one. And here you can see where you can easily notice the dark solution appears here, and here in the second one you can see how light the solution which appears here. So in the first case, what is happening here, where lots of solute will be there. That means in case of, when you relate in case of polymeric terms, where the polymer concentration is more, whereas the solvent amount of solvent we have taken is less. In this case, the amount of solvent we have taken is more than the polymer we have dissolved here. So that in this case we got the highly concentrated polymer solution. In this case we got highly diluted polymer solution. Okay. Now, higher is the polymer concentration in dough, more are the chains, and they'll get entangled with each other, giving rise to higher viscosity. That means if you want to maintain or alter the viscosity of your polymer solution, obviously the concentration of polymer we are taking in preparing this polymer solution should be high, so that the more entanglements will be there each other, which give rise to high viscosity. This is about concentration. And next one is molecular weight. As I told you already, if the polymer molecular weight is more, obviously the entanglement density will be more, or the number of entanglements will be high. Is that right? Where if molecular weight of polymer is high, number of entanglements will be more. If molecular weight is less, where the number of entanglements will be less. Now you can see here the two images, you can see clearly where these are the entanglements of a polymeric chains. The first one is nothing but the low molecular weight polymer. Second one is high molecular weight polymer. In the first case, the polymer molecular weight is less, obviously, where you can see where polymeric chains, the entanglements are very less, or we can say that no entanglements in the polymeric chain. Now you can see here in a polymer with high molecular weight, where you can expect some entanglements in the polymeric chain. So depending upon the molecular weight of polymer, we are selecting for preparing the polymer solution, where the viscosity is going to depend. If the polymer molecular weight is more, obviously the entanglements density in a polymer chains will be high, polymer chain will be more, that is entanglements will be very high, which leads to high viscosity in a polymer, that is solution. Understand? Now here also you can see the molecular weight is a low molecular weight. You can see the number of chains, polymeric chains, which is very less. Here in case of high molecular weight, where the chain's length is very high. So this also influences the that is length of polymeric chain. It is not same. For low molecular weight it is less, high molecular weight the chain length is very high. So this also leads to the change in the viscosity of polymer solution. Okay. So as we discussed already, the higher the molecular weight and more is the viscosity. Higher the molecular weight and more will be the viscosity. And this viscosity increases proportionally with the molecular weight. If you are slowly increasing the molecular weight, obviously what will happen? Viscosity also increases. And it will reach up to a point called critical molar concentration. Up to critical molar concentration, where there is a linear relationship between molecular weight and then viscosity. Understand? After this critical point, which is nothing but critical molar concentration, where even after increasing the molecular weight, you can't expect the increase in the viscosity of a polymer solution. Okay. So thereafter, it increases by the power of 3.54 of the molecular weight. And next, coming to temperature. As we already discussed in the previous slides, the temperature is having a significant influence in the viscosity of a polymeric solution. That means if you increase the temperature, if you increase your temperature, obviously if you look at this graph, in x-axis we have temperature, in y-axis we have viscosity. If you increase the temperature right from 5 to 45 and up to 50, where you can see what about the viscosity, where earlier it was 25 or 24 poise, and then slowly it is reducing. So with increasing the temperature, where the viscosity of polymer solution also it is come down, and depending upon the viscosity levels which we are expecting in a polymer solution, where we are maintaining that temperature. And the viscosity is a function of temperature. Higher the temperature and lower will be the viscosity, and the relationship is exponential relationship. If one factor increases, another factor is coming down. If this factor increases, this factor will come down. That sort of relationship is there with temperature. Okay. So next, coming to an important factor which influences the flowing behavior of this polymeric solution. Okay. That is nothing but shear rate and its history. Shear rate and history. Now, if you look at shear rate, what do you mean by shear rate? What do you mean by shear rate? It's nothing but the velocity, the change in velocity of fluids. Suppose if you take two parallel plates, and if you say, you can see in the image, if you take two parallel plates and if you take your fluid in between these parallel plates, okay, between these parallel plates, now if you start passing your fluid, if you start moving your top plate, there should be some differences in velocity of the top fluid as well as the bottom. So that is nothing but the shear rate, change in velocity of fluids from one layer to another layer. Okay. If you look at this, polymeric fluids are usually complex non-Newtonian. Complex non-Newtonian. So before going to non-Newtonian, we should understand what is this Newtonian fluids. That means the viscosity, that means the viscosity of a polymeric solution or viscosity of any fluids are independent of shear rate and time of shear. So viscosity will not change or will not influence by this rate of shear and time of shear. That sort of fluids we call it as Newtonian fluids. When it comes to non-Newtonian fluids, where the viscosity of fluids are dependent on both shear rate and rate of shear. Shear rate and rate of shear both are same, and time of shear. Again I am repeating, in case of Newtonian fluids, where the viscosity is independent to that of, shear rate and time of shear. Whereas in case of non-Newtonian fluids, where the viscosity of fluids, viscosity of the particular polymeric fluids are dependent on shear rate and time of shear. And whatever the polymeric fluids are there, so which will fall under this non-Newtonian behavior. That means where its viscosity is altered based on the rate of shear and then time of shear. Understand? So also, whatever the polymeric solutions now normally show shear thinning behavior. Shear thinning behavior. That means easily you can understand this from this term, shear thinning behavior. That means their viscosity decreases with increasing shear rate. That means the viscosity of a polymeric fluid decreases with the increasing shear rate and time of shear. Increasing the shear rate and time of shear. I told you already what is shear rate. That means change in velocity of fluids, that is top and then bottom layers. Understand? If that shear rate is high and then time of shear is more, where the viscosity of a polymeric solution is decreases. This is called as shear thinning behavior. So generally, if you look at the polymeric fluids, where these polymeric fluids are non-Newtonian, and then it follows the shear thinning process. Since the viscosity of any polymeric solution, is primarily due to its highly entanglement molecular chain network. This we have already discussed in previous slides. If polymeric chain entanglement density is more, obviously viscosity is high. If entanglement density is low, obviously it leads to change in the viscosity. Okay, and this entanglement density changes, the polymer is put under relaxed or stressed conditions. You can notice this point. The entanglement density changes as a polymer is put under stressed state or relaxed state. There is relaxed state and then stressed state. Suppose under high shear rate or when put for longer time at a given shear rate. Suppose if you are applying higher, that is the velocity differences are more than top and bottom layers of fluids, or if this is there for longer time, the chain tends to come out of entanglements, where earlier the entanglements were like this. If higher shear rate happens, where what is happening? The entanglements of chains tend to come out. What will happen if entanglement chains are coming out? Obviously, viscosity is coming down. Viscosity is coming down. However, as the shear stresses are removed from the fluid, now there is no stress on the fluids. The polymeric chain tend to reverse this trend and get into a more entangled network to achieve a relaxed state. Earlier in stressed conditions, what will happen? Where these polymeric chains tend to come out, which leads to reduction in the viscosity. Suppose if you are removing all the stresses, and if it comes to relaxed state, or in the process of getting its relaxed state, again it will come back to its original position of entanglement in polymeric chains, which leads to high viscosity of polymeric solution. Therefore, the viscosity rises with time as the fluid stands still and is allowed to go to an equilibrium state of randomness from the stress state. That is, from the stress state, if you make it relax, allow the polymeric fluids to relax for some time, where the viscosity rises. Understand? Now, finally, whatever this shear thinning behavior of the polymeric solution is there, which is helpful, which is very much helpful during the spinning process. As the fluidity of solution increases, fluidity that is passing through different elements at higher speeds, due to shear experienced by it during filtration and extrusion process. That is, again I am repeating, whatever this shear thinning behavior of polymeric solutions, which is helpful during the spinning process, as the fluidity, or we can say that the viscosity of the solution increases due to shear experienced by it during filtration and then extrusion processes. Understand? So this is all about the rheology behavior of polymeric fluids. Understand? Rheology behavior of polymeric fluids and its need to study the rheology behavior. Okay, so this is what the today's topic is. So till now we have discussed in detail about what is this rheology behavior, that is study of flowing behavior of fluids, and what is the need to study this flowing behavior of polymeric fluids, Why? Because while passing the polymeric fluids from the preparation and then after preparing the polymeric solution, we are passing through different elements in the spinning line at different stresses, different speeds, higher speeds. At that time we are imparting a lot of shear, that is shear rate is more and time of shear also sometimes high. So at that time, what is happening to the viscosity of the polymeric fluids? Understand? So this is what we have discussed in detail in this today's class. Hope you got the outcome whichever I told you in the beginning of this class. So thank you all.